Let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And let me share with you some tips that I use as well to release financial anxiety. Of course, I don't know your exact financial situation, but once you get the idea, I'm sure that you can find a way to apply it to your own personal experience. I don't know about you, but when I feel that bills or things that I need to pay for pile up, I have the tendency to get anxious. And the problem with this is that when you're focused on lack, on the fact that there seem to be more expenses than you previously estimated, there's a tendency to just worry, to feel anxious about them, and instead of enjoying the things that we pay for, we feel a sense of unease. But the thing is, this worry, this feeling of unease, isn't bringing any solutions. It just diminishes the pleasure we get out of life. But thankfully, there are solutions to this. One thing that works great for me is putting pen to paper. I've bought and attended several courses on money management, and one thing that I learned and I kept as a habit was writing down the expenses as well as the income. For me, what always works great when I feel anxious about money is writing how much money I have right now, cash or in bank accounts, and how much money I'm expecting in this month, for instance. This is very helpful because it shifts the focus. Instead of focusing on the expenses that tend to come up every now and then, the focus is back on the income, on the fact that I have money, cash and in bank accounts, that I am going to receive money, and this helps a lot with calming the brain and not giving in to anxiety. The beautiful thing about putting pen to paper is the fact that you can see it. It becomes something real. It's not just something that's going on in your head that you worry about, that isn't really that clear as you might think, or that precise. And this leads us to the second approach to releasing anxiety about money. When you write your expenses, it's not usually with a good feeling like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I have to pay for all of these things. It's possibly from a feeling of lack, like I only have this much money and I have to pay this and I have to pay that and I don't know how I'm going to pay for that. But the first thing that happens once you put it down on paper is that a good part of the emotional struggle stops because you know how much it is by using a more evolved part of your brain. It's more rational. It's not that feeling of fight or flight, worrying about survival. And from there, what I want you to do is to look at each expense. For instance, rent or mortgage. You might think that it's a pretty big amount going out of your pocket each month, or you might be grateful for the fact that you have a place in which you can feel safe and protected, a place where you can recharge each night, a shelter from all of the changes in nature. And when you think about the fact that this is what you're paying for, instead of feeling poor for having to pay for that particular thing, you feel enriched. You feel that you're doing something amazing with that money. Usually when we do something repeatedly, we tend to forget about the why. Why we're doing that? Why are we paying for that? And we only think about the action itself. The fact that we have to take money out of our pockets and pay someone for that particular thing. And you can do this with all of your expenses. Think about electricity, for instance. For once, you might not be paying too much for electricity. For instance, in Australia, I know that electricity bills are pretty expensive. But even if you are in Australia, you couldn't be listening to this podcast if you wouldn't have electricity. You wouldn't be able to enjoy all of the automated things that you have in your house if it weren't for electricity. So think about the other expenses that you have. If you don't have much time, just write down the 3 biggest expenses that you have and do this exercise. You will see that instead of anxiety, you will feel gratitude. And once you get the hang of it, you can continue with other expenses as well. And the third tip is to think about the people that you are paying with the money that goes out of your pocket. This is a really interesting exercise as well. The next time you pay for something, think about the people you are paying with your money. Even if you might not be realizing this is the same way you are getting your own money. Someone has to pay for your business, for the products or services that you or your company is selling, and from that money, you get paid, and you're able to sustain your family. And you're doing the same thing as well. When you pay at a restaurant, you pay for the people's salaries, for the drivers that are transporting the food to the restaurant. You're paying the food manufacturers, and so on and so forth. People in Romania seem to understand this, but they've turned it upside down, like in a negative way. They understand the fact that the people that are employed by the government are paid from their taxes. And whenever they are frustrated with their services, they make sure that they tell them that it's us, the ones that are paying for their salaries. And it's somehow true, but I think being grateful for the fact that we get to pay for people's salaries while also getting the product or the service that we need is a much healthier way of seeing things. So next time you pay for something, think about the fact that you're supporting a business that you believe in, that you're helping families have financial support, and you will see that the experience of paying for different things might shift from anxiety to gratitude, and from that to abundance, to richness. This has been Georgian Benta. Thank you so much for listening. Share this episode with a friend, with a family member that you think it might be very useful to. Have an amazing day, and don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.